So, what was it? My team member here, Sam, was saying about how surveillance claims to cut down terrorist attack. From this article that I found here, is that at least when it comes to video surveillance, oh, by the way, the source was the American Civil Liberties Union. They claim that video surveillance specifically does not stop terrorist attacks, since a lot of them tend to be suicide attackers, and of course they're not going to be caring about too much about how, any repercussions afterwards. And it states, suicide attackers are clearly not deterred by cameras and may be attracted to the television covered cameras that can ensure the expense of an extensive video surveillance such as Britain's, which sucks up approximately 20% of that nation's criminal justice budget. There's also a claim where video cameras reduce petty crimes, but also from that same article I was just mentioning, that in Britain there is cameras everywhere, all over the country, and it states here, in Britain, where cameras have been extensively deployed in public places, sociologists studying the issue have found that they have not reduced crime. Another point is that with all the massive amount of data that the government has been collecting, they haven't really stated what they're planning on doing with it. An article from the American Civil Liberties Union says, patriotic detractors believe that there is no clear definition listed within the Act for what the government plans to do with such autonomy and power. And also, there is a thing called a national security letter, which is basically a search warrant that the FBI makes that they can just make in their office, and then they don't even have to go to a judge or anything, and they can just basically do whatever they want within that so-called search warrant type of thing. In an article that was done by the Public Broadcasting System, or Public Broadcasting Service, it states, the way things are now, the government prints its own search warrant. The FBI prints a search warrant on its own printer and delivers it, and then if the recipient has a problem with it, they on their own dime can go to court and challenge it. And they're saying that, yeah, it was, even though you go and, if the people who are receiving that national security letter, they can go fight it in court, but they have to pay their own money. So when it comes to all this massive amount of surveillance, people get a little paranoid because they, sorry, I'm just trying to word it. They're worried about that, they're worried about how it's going to be taken out of context when they're completely innocent. In an article by Occupy Theory, it states, many cases have come up since the inception of the Patriot Act where citizens were falsely accused of being involved in terrorism only for the government to realize their wrongdoing after it is too late. Basically, this part of the article states that all the surveillance was done on them, but because it was taken out of context, they got falsely accused and got thrown in jail. It was a while before they got released. So, and there's also a lot of people have been speculating, or thinking that the Patriot Act should be reevaluated because it seems to be a waste of time and money. So an article by the ACLU, or American Civil Liberties Union, they say between 2003 and 2006, the FBI issued 192,499 national security letters, which led to one terror-related conviction. The conviction would have occurred even without the Patriot Act. Another, the Patriot Act also seems to have several contradictions in place, which need to be adjusted or removed. There was an article by NBC News. Senator Russ Feingold, not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct, but he told NBC News, instead of prioritizing global terror threats, I knew that the Patriot Act was hastily written to infringe upon the privacy and civil liberties of the citizens it should protect. The facts have borne that out over the years. And